What is up, HK? It is your boy Summer back here in another video, and today we'll be reacting to my guy, the man, the Mr. Legend, the Masked Man. And we'll be reacting to the most inspirational manga ever made. And we all know what that is. Hajime no Ippo. Denshiro. Bro. But before we get into this video, if you're new here, make sure you hit that make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you can get all my new videos and all my new posts. And I want to say thank you to the people who's been subscribing and stuff like that. I appreciate it. We're almost to 610 subscribers. Can't believe it. We're moving up on the ranks, guys. One step closer. But before we start this video, let me know what you guys want me to do at 1K. I'm still doing the giveaway, but let me know. I want to know what you guys say. I am a man of the people. The man, the Mr. Legend, the Masked Man.
After finally catching up to all 1,443 chapters of Hajime No Ippo up to the day of this recording, the next challenge was to decide how I wanted to go about talking about all of this. And I think the most efficient thing for me, considering that I have a few other big projects I want to work on and there's a lot of other videos I want to do on Hajime No Ippo, is to first do one where it's just my unfiltered thoughts on the series, just sort of a conversation between me and you. And so consider this a letter of appreciation to Hajime No Ippo, a love letter if you will, but that sounds a little too much, although that might be the title of the video. Hajime No Ippo, given its very long chapter count, such a series like One Piece, is one of those things that a lot of people might not want to get into or read. I also did check out the anime.
For real, but I actually got into Hajime No Ippo before I got into One Piece. If you didn't know, it's so amazing, and seeing Ippo grow as a person, even when he wasn't boxing during the boxing arcs, he wasn't boxing. Just seeing him grow, he took a because he's taking a break from boxing and whatnot. It's just amazing, because most of you can the main focus is where you can take care of, and he's not doing any action on regular show, and people still interested. And that's what's so amazing about Hajime. You really want to see what he will do, no matter what. And he has that dog mentality of keep pushing forward. It doesn't matter if his enemy has what the flicker jabs, they don't copy his things. It never matters to him. He always pushes forward, and I think that the last thing that is you keep on going. You don't give up. Push forward. Anything that happened then is then. We focus on it now.
Which I was thoroughly enjoying and watching with some friends. However, I felt for the sake of efficiency to get through all of it and to be able to talk about it, I went, the manga route. And I want to say that if there was any way I could sell you Hajime No Ippo, is not by just telling you it's one of the best things I've ever read, because that is my opinion of the series. But after all 1,400 plus chapters, I'm not satisfied and I wanted more. And I can't say I've ever felt that way about any other series that I've ever read. It's sort of that completion,
exactly like if Hajime no Ippo's manga everywhere to stop being made, I don't think I ever will be satisfied with Ippo's story coming to an end, because the story of Ippo Maka no Uji is just such amazing, and not just him, the whole cast, everybody, even the most random character. You want to root for them. You hear their backstory and see why they're fighting, and you just be like, wow. And it just opens your eyes.
I fuck with that. I like that. I really fuck with that.
Feeling when you've been deeply immersed into something, like for those that maybe the first time they ever beat a Soulsborne game, where it's like you beat it and then there's this sense of accomplishment, but then this immediate sense of emptiness where it's like, I will never get to experience this for the first time again. And that's how I feel after catching up to this series. Hajime no Ippo starts off following the main character, Ippo, Makunochi. I think that's how you pronounce the last, I forget how Japanese names work. I know, just... you follow Ippo, who, he's getting bullied. He's this very mild and meek personality, right? One that a lot of people would look at and assume is not built for the role of boxer at all.
Definitely.
One fateful day, Takamura, the best boxer at this respective gym, catches Ippo being beat up, and he intervenes, and Ippo says that he wants to learn to be strong, and so Takamura tests him, and basically is like, listen, you got to be able to do all this exercise for like a month and all that. You need to, he tests him first by having him like punch a tree and then have to catch a certain amount of leaves, and Ippo, after a lot of hard work, manages to do so, and then begins his boxing journey and career from that point onwards. There's a lot that happens in this series. And following the journey of Ippo is a very unique experience in the sense that no other series, I think, has ever made me feel like every single victory is more deserved and every single loss is more...
Yes. If you have never read or watched Ippo, Hajime no Ippo, please, I already probably spoiled some of it for you guys. Please, before you get spoiled even worse, please, I don't want to ruin your experience. Please stop this video. Before you leave, hit that subscribe button. I would much appreciate it. But before you leave, hit that subscribe button. But I will advise you to leave. Like, I don't want to be that type of person who spoils you. You feel me? I please heed this warning. But if you continue, please enjoy.
Brutal for the character, which, by the way, spoilers, there's going to be some heavy spoilers I'm going to get into later on to address certain things within the series. So if this is the moment where you haven't gotten into it, I suggest you watch some of my other videos. There's a manga recommendation one I did recently. I think you should check that one out. But for those that are still here, following the journey of Ippo is one of the most satisfying things. As a lot of other fighting series, you do get immersed and you do become very invested into the outcome of the main character. But with Ippo, it genuinely feels like you are side by side with a friend on this journey that is so much more than just boxing. And there's some of the other martial arts and boxing series that I've read that, you know, the combat sport in which they are a part of is a small...
I think that Hajime no Ippo is the best combat sports anime. And I say this because it's not just about the boxing aspect of it. It's a big part of it, but it's not it's the center. It's the sun in the ecosystem. In the solar system. I said ecosystem. In the solar system. Boxing is the sun in the solar system of intricate, amazing things within Hajime no Ippo. That's what I think.
Sort of dose for what is kind of a philosophy on life, if you will, the way to go about living, to pull yourself back up, the meaning of love, the meaning of what it is to be strong. And that is a major theme for Ippo's character, what it means to be strong. And seeing that being tested throughout all of the different rivalries that he has. Ippo as a main character is one that is tested constantly, and what blew me away a lot about the series was its ability to be able to constantly throw in new challenges that were able to keep me engaged. I never felt like Ippo went up against something where I was like, oh, this again, and I became uninterested. No, it felt like the proper progression for Ippo's character, because not every challenge is the same. Every single aspect of who he is as a boxer is tested throughout the story, and on top of that, every single aspect of who he is as a person. Seeing him become stronger, be it hold on to that lovable personality that makes him so easy to get behind and to root for. It's sort of the concept behind pro wrestling. You see this underdog, the little guy with a very likable personality versus this big bad who you want to see him beat. It's that very easy, humane response to root for the little guy. And seeing that guy grow and grow and grow and grow and eventually reach heights that looking back into where the story started, it's almost it's kind of crazy just how much the character has to go through to reach those heights. It's such a
He's the
beautiful
main
thing to
character.
see. But the long chapter count might be a bit off-putting, since I think a lot of people
That's
might
what
see
I
the
just
name of the
told you
series, Hajime No
guys.
Ippo, and the main character being Ippo, and think that the series is completely focused on him. And of course, he is the main character, but one of the strengths of this series isn't just Ippo, but it's the entire cast. Now, of course, there are characters in this series, just like there is in a lot of fighting series, where once they beat this person, that person no longer really becomes relevant to the story. And there are characters like that in Ippo, but I think Ippo has the strongest example of using characters and bringing them back into the story and allowing them to develop so much more to where they sort of feel like their own main character. Therefore, the story really has a lot of these other different storylines that are engaging beyond just Ippo. And the length of the series is due to the author taking that extra step of going beyond just backstories, but also going through and continuing to follow what this character is going through and their progress in the world of boxing. Because to contrast to a series like One Piece,
Absolutely.
One Piece is a far more plot-driven story. There's a lot of different aspects to the world of One Piece that play into the world building. Versus Ippo, it's a very strong character-driven story. And so there is a long chapter count, but that's due to this focus on so many different characters. Like, there will be legit 50 chapter plus stretches where, even though of course it's relevant to Ippo's character as it is from his perspective, seeing these characters, progress and go through their own losses and wins, you also really get immersed into what each of these characters are dealing with. Takamura is a great example, sort of this all-invincible champion who is one of the strongest pieces of comedy relief the series has, but when he gets serious, is easily one of the most respected.
Nah, Aoki is literally the funniest anime character I have ever seen. Even his boxing style is great comedy relief. Like the frog style, I like to call it the frog style. I know it's called something different, but seeing him frog punch people, it's just funny. When he got really skinny and he was going through his weight transformation for his matches, it was great. He's fucking hilarious. Uh, I remember when I was watching the anime and they passed Ippo at the bar and he was like, "Put that monster away!"
It's nothing! Put that monster away!
As well, and is a huge component as to why I love Ippo as a series. Some of the other at Ippo's gym that he's a part of,
Facts. Kimura is
Aoki, who
great.
is the strongest comedy relief. Like, Takamura is great comedy relief, but Aoki is by far one of the funniest characters ever in manga. And his buddy in crime, Kimura, where they both have this amazing friendship, and neither of them are as talented or as successful as Ippo would end up being, or nowhere near Takamura, but yet you still get invested, and it's a far different sort of struggle that they have to go through versus Takamura and Ippo. As well as later you get Itagaki, who joins the gym, who is this talented prodigy. And we have to see how he sort of has to grow and develop and also accept losing and continue to push his boundaries. Even the coach of the gym is given this very heartfelt backstory with his best friend, and time is dedicated to that. So it feels like
the respect of giving him his own series. Amazing. Again, watch that. It's amazing. The animation is amazing. It's beautiful. It's a masterpiece.
every important character you're introduced to is never unsatisfying, is never feeling like, oh, there could have been more done with this character. I don't think there's many times I've genuinely felt that within Hajime no Ippo, because it's not just the people within Ippo's gym, but the people that he faces off against. Mashiba, the Grim Reaper of the series, what is once the big bad, you get to see this beautiful development with his character and the way that he gets to progress with the series.
Mashiba has my
who is
favorite
Ippo's
boxing
rival
style.
in them two, which they have a conflict that still needs to be dealt with. Sendo is another one of my favorite
Sendo
characters.
was amazing.
Who is this sort of he's sort of like this slightly alternate version of Ippo,
Yeah,
far
he's a
more aggressive
slightly more
personality,
cocky,
but is also easy as
less
hell to
humble
root
version
for.
of it.
And so
No
this
offense,
long chapter count,
he's a more cocky, more upright. Not as Ippo. Probably he's not a I'll say loser. And this is I'll never take anything from Ippo. Ippo is me. You feel me? Ippo has somewhat the same thing as me, so I can admit that in his position, that's what we will be called, a loser. That's what he is, and that's okay. It doesn't really matter people's stipulations or people's stuff. It doesn't really matter what they talk about, but Sendo's a less cocky version of him. He has a certain star power to him. That's what I say. He has star power for sure. For sure.
Promise you, it is not because of a bunch of wasting filler that contributes
Yeah,
to
for
nothing.
sure.
Not to say that there aren't some, relaxed chapters, because there definitely are, but it's because the author has chosen to go that extra step with all of these awesome characters and to continue to build upon them. And so it doesn't feel like a lot of other fighting series might feel like, where the main character is progressing and progressing and progressing while everybody else slowly grows more stagnant. No, it is a living and breathing world with characters that each have their own goals and motivations and are each striving for the top spot. They're not just there so Ippo can beat them and never have to contend with them ever again. And I know I've kind of gone on about this for quite a bit before
I'm sorry
I've even
if
touched
y'all
into
see
the
me
actual
moving a lot.
fights, but I legitimately think
My
that if
light keep on
Ippo, the
going
strongest
off.
thing it had was the fights before the characters, I don't think I would nearly love it as much. I think the fights are able to be as good as they are because the author has been willing to expand upon these characters and make them be so much more
Yeah.
than just obstacles with some slightly sad backstories.
The
No, they
fights are
develop into something
so
far
good
more beyond that.
because
Now, getting
the
into the actual
emotion
fights themselves,
and
they're
the
incredible.
hard work you see from both parties, it draws you in. You can't wait. The anticipation. That's the lore of Hajime no Ippo.
The author clearly has a love and respect for the sport of boxing, considering that there are so many different references to real life boxers that go beyond just, for example, Mike Tyson and Ali. When it started off talking about the legendary Tommy Hearns, I was really pleasantly surprised myself, as I had heard about the flicker jab in Hajime no Ippo, and I myself have actually gotten into boxing recently, and Tommy Hearns is the boxer that my
Yes,
lanky ass has tried
it's
to be
amazing.
inspired by. So yes, I have slightly
Yep,
Masuda Rio
Thomas
bias,
the
but that's
Hitman
besides the point.
Hearns.
But seeing the actual implementation of a lot of historic boxing techniques is a very fascinating thing, and I think anybody who loves boxing would easily love this manga. But for those who aren't
Yeah,
really
yeah.
into boxing as a sport, I think a good testament of a really good sports manga is it's able to get people into a sport they were like never into before. I know
The
Alex
Dempsey
recently got
Road,
into
right?
basketball
Yeah,
because
like
of Slam Dunk. I know my boy Broken Ronin got a little more into soccer because of Blue Lock, which I have my thoughts on Blue Lock, but that's nor here nor there. And Ippo, even though I myself growing up had already had a bit of a love for boxing,
yep. Slam dunk is the best. Cause sports have category combat sports, and then I'll say sports. Best sport anime is there's no argument. People say it's Kuroko's Basket. It's not Kuroko's Basket. I don't care what nobody says. Slam Dunk is the greatest basketball anime ever. Besides Real, Real is a they're the same. Real and Slam Dunk, they're the same. Kokoroko no basket. It's I'll say it's third place. Those two, Real and Slam Dunk, top two. Slam Dunk will always be one. I don't care what nobody says. Real is amazing, but Slam Dunk.